$2.25. This is an acid dye, the orange part, but the yellow orange, that's a rabbit brush dye, and then this color here is a madder root and cochineal. So there's several different dyes going on. I was able to collect my rabbit brush like in August, September. That's when they're fully bloomed. And then I'll go ahead and produce my dye work. And that's how I was able to produce this piece for the herd show. I use very fine wool that allows me to create these different details. Like just the ruby neck throat alone, I'm using like 4 different colors. So I do a lot of gradations of colors. Like this color here, I'm using 4 different colors as well.
We live in Cameron, Arizona, so it's right off the middle
This is it's a 2 gray heel that she was making also. These are kind of like our natural colors of wool. This one, there's vegetable dye, like this one. For her, it's going to take like, for this size, it probably takes her about 6 to 8 weeks. It really depends on, like if she prefer natural light, then in the evening, she just usually just stop. Yeah.
With the flute player for dancing in harmony, and it's actually the process is tufa casted with fabrication work on the side with inlay, and then there's this other bracelet here. It's also the same tufa casted with a little accent piece, part of the village scenery. Going on to the older Kiva writing migrations. This one here. This one here has called flourishing, and it's all the plants, the flowers, and there's a butterfly in here. And then this one here is going to be all 3-dimensional on the top. It's going to have flowers with the stone set in the center, and then the dragonfly is going to come on the side.
What stones will you put in the flowers?
Either coral with turquoise, or sometimes I use jade, black jade.
Design is the knife mint design. It means stands of protection with the hand like that. It's more of a medicine type design. And then the chromatins on the top. It's all spiny oyster, turquoise, coral, and then a little bit of mother of pearl. And this is detachable. You can actually take it off. Like that. You can wear it separately and the necklace separately. And this is the step design here. Represents a rain cloud. The lines represent rain. And then the sun also with the rain cloud in the top. Inlaid with coral, turquoise, mother of pearl. And on the sides, I use a number 4 low dome and I carve them out with a metal cutter. Clamshell with spiderweb turquoise, these inserts. They're inlaid all the way around. And then there's an extra small tubing going all the way through, and it's cut on the end, so there's no rough edges. And it's easier to string them because that tube guides the string through the wire. And this is also got a big bell on the back. And that represents the sun in the cloud. You know, when the sun is in the cloud, the rays will just be shining to one side. That sort of represents that. We're from Zuni. We're a team. I do the silver work. My wife, she does the inlay. Both, you know, work on the designs. I work on the designs. She works on the colors.
Okay, I got my particle board cut to size, and then I spread my glue all over it, got my solid colors on there, pressed it, and give me the smoother surface to work on. And then I found my dimension here, corner to corner, and things like that. And then I used my circle maker to make my circle, you know. So I did that. So one line going through around, one line going through around, and one line going across here. That way then I know exactly what's here, what kind of design I'm going to make here, my gauge size. So what I measure here is that leg, the neck, and the head. I just measure it, each one of them, where it's going to go. And then from there, then each one of this is freehand, so I just go again the same way. With different design, with all of them is freehand. So I just made my skinny line on the marker that I made on the white line. Then the red went on the outside, turquoise went on the inside. So that's the way all of it is done with a brush and a glue. If I make a mistake, then I'm adding something else onto there that I normally didn't want to add on. A lot of my paintings are not ceremonial anymore, you know, so. I have my glue and my brush, you know, like, and that's I use that. And all my drawing is done with the brush and glue. So I brush all my sand, and then I sprinkle my sand right on it. I collect all my rocks, mineral rocks, soft sandstone. I grind it, and I go through a sifting process before I get to the stage.
These are all hand-coiled pottery, and they're all traditionally hand-dug. I dig the clay. I do a lot of teaching. So I dig the clay, I take students out there to do the clay. And in our tribe, it's dying out, the pottery tradition, so I'm always trying to teach the younger generation to make pots. But these pots are hand-coiled, and they're pit-fired in the traditional fire pit. And to make some of the pots black that I have here, I use sawdust. So this is, I guess I use this. We use like a bowl. And then you get oil, and you pour it inside the bowl. Long ago, they just used handmade bowls, but I reuse a lot of the plastic. So. And this is ground up mica, and you just coat it. It's like flour, so the pot will release when it dries, so it won't stick to that. I always use the white mica.
Feel free to go ahead and pop in.
Then you make a tortilla shape. I had to pound the clay to get the sawdust, the air bubbles out of there. So I done that earlier, so now it's good to work with. This comes in hand. So then I get I'll put this over here. This tortilla shape is gonna go inside the pottery. So I'm gonna fold this into the pot. And then you start adding coils on top of it. Then you start just coiling up. I'll probably just do a simple bowl. So a lot of these you can use, like the bowls that they have here, and a lot of them are functional, so you can use them.
Can you use your food?
Yes, all my pots can be used. I make a lot of pots and I give them to my family, but they don't use them. They just put them away. Yeah. Like one time I made some big cooking pots for my mom and my aunt. And I made them use it the first time when I gave it to them, and they never used it again, so I don't know why.
It's too
Yeah.
It's already there. Can I look at this? This is coil made?
Yeah, coil made just like how
Just like this one.
all of these right here are all made just the way that you want that.
So this is the price for it?
Yes. Feel free, you guys want, feel free to pick them up and take a look. If you guys want to see anything, have any questions, feel free to ask. So if you take a look up on the top right here, this one right here is how we process the flavor into the market stick. And that's the process of what we're going right here is how we produce the fire.
Just don't really spin. I don't know why I bring it.
It's all right here. Everything that he's doing right here is what we do to all of you.
I'm thinning it out because it's kind of thick, so I'm bringing it up. So after this, it'll dry for probably a day, and tomorrow I can start sanding with this here, and then I'm gonna polish with that. This is what I used to polish, so it has more mica in there, and it's real pretty. If you put it on your hand, it has like a gold shimmer. I like it. Ever since I was small, I was drawn to the shininess.
Hi, I'm Felicia Ruiz, and I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona, promoting my book today, doing signings on earth medicines. I'm a storyteller of wellness, curandera, and my book, I'm really proud to say, won an award for the Reading the West, Eating, Cooking category. And it's all about wellness, lifestyle as medicine, a lot of recipes that have been handed down in my family orally, all from New Mexico. For instance, this is aloe vera gel. Aloe vera is not indigenous to the Southwest like so many people think, but it's something we've implemented because the aloe grows very well here. And so for this example, I have an aloe vera water. For hydration. So things like chia seeds, which are ancestral to me, are blended with things like aloe vera and cucumber, turmeric, limey, of course, kind of astringent. But once you blend it with everything, it just takes on the flavor of whatever you have. In this case, it's a lot of lime juice and the cucumber. Remedies from all over, just always wanting to have people step back and reflect at where we are and where our ancestors, went for wellness. And in this case, like an example of drinking more spring water and just honoring the earth and really giving all of our love to Mama Earth.
I'm Kim Messier.
And I'm Pat Messier.
Mother and daughter. This is our fourth book, and in April of 2020, Sam Patania, who's the third generation silversmith of the family, approached us and asked us if we'd like to write a history of the Patania family and their shop, the Thunderbird Shop, and we, of course, immediately agreed. They brought us the archives and the jewelry from the family vault, and we photographed it and did the research, and we were able to write it during the pandemic. So this is Frank Patania Sr. section, and this is the ring Pat's wearing. And then we have sections for each of the 3 generations. This is Frank Jr.'s, and that's the bracelet she's wearing. And then we also have for Sam Patania. And then we go into the Thunderbird shop, which they had craftsmen that worked for them and made the lower price line and the handmade jewelry that the Patanias made. There's family members also, extended family. And then Frank Sr.'s brother, Carmelo, or Pat Patania, was also a silversmith, and he worked at the Thunderbird shop for some time. And then the legacy, they're all 3, Frank Jr., Frank Sr., and Sam Patania are in the Smithsonian. And then we did a chapter on silversmiths who worked at the Thunderbird shop, and then the hallmarks, identifying and dating jewelry by the hallmarks.
My name is Rueben Richards, and I've been doing the herd for quite some time now. Very fortunate enough to have been accepted here for so many years, I think back in the 90s and so on. So this is one of the artists who's here that very fortunate to get into the show, which is I do appreciate. And of course I'm from the Navajo reservation around the Four Corners area, a place called Dine, so just south of Monument Valley. So that's where I'm from, and a lot of the paintings I do are, most of them are acrylic, but I do work in all medias, and I've been probably around 1993 I started full-time. Before that I used to be an army worker. I used to work in a collection, manage a collection agency, construction, doing plumbing and all that. But 93, that was it. I started doing this full-time. Very fortunate enough to have collectors, and some of my work is in collections because I do dance in these. I pretty much, these Yetis, I do dance in them and pretty much know, I guess, the traditional aspects of what's in my paintings. And it's just been to be part of it and to be painting it, which is being part of something that we do as Navajo people. So that's where I get my ideas from, just being around them ever since I was yay high to now. Very fortunate enough again to be able to reach some kids to where I mentored them. Now they are participating in like ceremonies that we do and all that. So which is really good. It's a plus pretty much for them and myself. So that's what I get my, I guess my, to be honored as, you know, that's, I look at that as a high thing for me to do what I do. Like this piece here is in Tani, which is like a tutidine, which in our language is a corn pollen, a pollen that all the plants, they have that, and it's in our ways there's that tutidine in our, you know, that's so this lady, you know, from the time, I guess, pretty much where it all began is, you know, nobody knows, but they say, you know, there's a time where people were created and they were only spirits and all this. So my grandpa, there's things, there's spirits in everything of what we breathe, what we eat, what we drink, you know, every day to survive. So a lot of it, you know, has to do it, and this is the spirit of that, of when we were created, of when, you know, there were built by so many of elements in life, to be created and stuff. So with that, there's the stars. These are stars up here of the past stars and stars that we don't see, which is billions, trillions, or nobody knows. So, and then these are stars you can see, and one of the stars is up there. That's there for us every day, So it's representing those, and then these are some of the ladies, the female, which has a lot to do with being what we always say, our Mother Earth and all that. So we greatly respect that. We always say our mother. A lot has to do with that, and we always look at the ladies. And with that, the yellow is what is the Talahaftewa part, which is the pollen part that regenerates, like flower to flower kind of deal. So that's pretty much. And then we use those for again for our Dine. We use those for offerings too, for our ceremonies, or else if we're thankful for something, we always acknowledge wherever we're at, maybe the water or the trees, the mountains, and all these things. And we use that Dine, which is the yellow part of the corn, and we use that pollen for our prayers, to do our prayers, to do an offering to whatever we're acknowledging.
Hi, I'm Paula Baxter. I'm book signing at the Herd Museum, Indian Fair and Market. This is about my fourth signing in the last 10 years. They're very good to me here. I love the Herd because their library is probably one of the 2 top libraries in the United States for Indian art, culture, research, and especially for information on artists. And the book I just wrote now is a labor of love. It took me 5 years, and it covers a very important seminal beginning of Native American design, with the intriguing thing about why the Navajo and Pueblo are so important with design is that by 1870 you still have the Indian wars raging all over the West, but the Navajo had their long walk in the 1860s, and they were back in their homeland by 1868. The Pueblo did not go to war, and they were considered good, friendly Indians. So they were awarded with silver-top canes by President Lincoln, and they went to work and created the most beautiful jewelry ever. Without a lot of money or tools or anything, they just created beautiful stuff that's become enduring and very popular, and why we have shows like this at the Herd. There's so many good artists of that nature. This is in many ways a reference book. Here we go. Because I have timelines, and so if you're a collector or dealer and you're saying to yourself, oh, when did they start using sheet silver instead of ingot silver, you can look right here and find out. Believe me, people will be appreciative of that. And I have a lot of support from people in the Indian art world. I'm very grateful to them. My contributors are some of the best collectors in the country. I have some private collectors that don't want to be named, but I couldn't do a book like this without them. And so it's kind of cool. He's a really great photographer. He takes all the photos. Economically, a book like this could not be done without getting contributions of photos from dealers and collectors. He does the shooting, and we go and have sessions, and he does a great job. I mean, people buy these books sometimes, they don't care what I write, they like his photos. And these started out earlier than you might think. I mean, they were making these things not long after the turn of the century, because it was a local material.
Yeah, it was available.
It was available.
Whereas turquoise took longer because it wasn't available, not readily available.
But I think that this jewelry also contributed to the great big boom in turquoise collecting, because you have all these American mines that are opening and closing in the early 20th century up to the mid 20th century. But isn't that stuff wonderful? It's a petrified wood. And some of them are actually like a form of jasper that they call picture stone.
labor of love. I started collecting boxes, purchased the first one in 1975, and have been collecting ever since. The young man over here is Evan Sanders, did all the photography for the book. We approached the Herd Museum a couple years ago, and they agreed to display our collection. It's been an honor. We feel this book is going to be the Bible on the subject for the rest of the time. Silver-made boxes by Navajo and Pueblo people. A lot of the boxes are a collaborative effort. In the predominantly 30s and 40s, a trader named C.G. Wallace would have Zuni artists do inlay work, and then he would give that inlay to top Navajo silversmiths who would then set it onto a box. The pieces start in around 1910 or so, and they go clear up to, there's probably 3 or 4 contemporary artists that we commissioned to make boxes for the show. And it also includes all the mid-century masters.
So I'm Shane Hendren, and what you're seeing is a vessel that I built for this show at the Herd Museum, and this is showing the inside of the lid. And it's pierced and hollow on the inside of the lid. Everything is hand fabricated, hand engraved. And what this is it's a toothpick holder, and there's 4 different quadrants on it with these filigree, and they have sapphires in them.
Yeah. So like, yeah. Yeah.
Style called ledger art, started 1850 to 1910. 1888, 1800 Western Unions, checks, 1200, 700, 6500, 3500, another 65, that one is 7500.
The teepee, when I got done, was the meaning behind it is with boarding school. You know, the children, that's the first thing they want to go home, because in the 1800s they didn't have totally displacement. So that it just describes some of the things they miss at home in this little poem. And everything's just like a lonesome thing. But it's a beautiful color, like there, that represents the evening, the dark blue. Down here is morning, the reds. And this here is what's above is below. So that's the description for that. And the rest are, that one there is my sister's, and she's somewhere on the campus here. And it's different art than what you have down south. The star represents the morning star, because the morning star is where we believe we come from. So it's a lone star and regular design, you know, as everyone else knows, but it's how we design our patterns on.
Because I think since COVID kept us all at home playing board games and all, I started thinking of Navajo cultural themes, you know, and it's kind of, everything just kind of started clicking and coming together. So it's just a matter of getting materials and finding out what kind of subjects to incorporate into the piece.
Cottonwood root. Every time I go to a show, I don't just like sitting. But these are flex cut knives. This is what I use a lot. And these are some of the, I bought these ones brand new a couple days ago. They're for detailing. Like when you do some of the small stuff. Like, see how the hair is all cut in? I'm Hopi from up north, but I live here.
Hello, my name is Adrian, and I'm here at the Herd Museum show. And this particular doll here, the deer, I couldn't really say how many hours are put in there because I have other projects that I go to, and I enjoy doing it. And this particular piece here is one piece. Also, this is one piece here too. The traditional material is cottonwood root. So at one time, water went through here, and it leaves a spirit, you know, yes. So it's the traditional material. I use water-based paint, a little bit of airbrushing. I haven't tried oil yet, but maybe I'll try it someday. I think when you do like sculpturing and you see like twisted figures of wood, then that's when it's really vivid almost to what it should be, you know, yes.